everybody. Miss Chris here. Today we're going to talk about Zentangle. Now some of you know what that is if you've come to my summer art classes. Others may not know. So this is Zentangle. And it starts with a Z-E-N. That's the first part of it, Zen. And Zen means a feeling of calmness, serenity. Especially when you're doing a project, you're just very calmly doing something. And the second part is tangle. Tangle means tangles. And what you're going to do repeating little tangles, little patterns, little designs, whatever you want to do. That's what Zentangle all about. We're going to do this all in a confined little space and then move on to another space and another tangle. So let's begin. We begin with supplies. First you need paper. White or a light color is best. Next you need a pen. And we're going to use a kind of special pen. Most of you know what a Sharpie is. And this is the pen we're going to use. It actually comes in a fine point and an ultra fine point. The fine point Sharpie has a thicker line and we use that mostly. The other Sharpie is Ultra, and we can use this if you have very fine little details you want to use. Ultra might be better. The last thing we need is a pencil, and I'll tell you in a minute why we use a pencil. If all else fails, you can use a pen, but the pen doesn't have the depth, the sharpness that a Sharpie has. So these are the supplies you need to get started on your Zentangle. Part of the word in Zentangle is tangle, and this is what I'm going to show you now. You might get a piece of scrap paper or another piece of paper so that you can copy what I'm doing. Then you'll have some patterns to remind you of things to do, but anything goes with tangles and patterns and designs. The important thing is you're going to do this in a repetitive, which means a repeating fashion, over and over again in a small confined space. So let's start with some of the different tangles. The first one I'm going to show you is probably the most common, and those are the circles. You can make big circles, little tiny circles, and have them very close together, have them far apart. You can use circles and color them in. And you can put a half a color in it. There's so many things, but these are the circle pattern. The next one I'm going to show you is kind of, I call it like a leaf. You start out and you come back to the same line, and you can do these all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason or rule. You can do anything you want, but this is kind of the loopy pattern I use. I call it a leaf pattern. Then we have what I call kind of like beginning of a plaid. You put 3 lines down, and then you're going to make, I like a wavy line to connect all the lines. And then at the cross of each line, you put a dot. And this makes kind of a distinctive pattern. And you'll see when we do this later how I use these things. You might just take your pen and just slowly go around in a circle. Or you can do it a very tiny. That's another pattern. Let's do a brick pattern. So for a brick, we're going to start with 3 lines and then connect it like that. And then in between the lines, you put more lines, and that shows you what a brick is. Now you might do something like a little odd shape and put a line in it with maybe a dot or 2. There's no rhyme or reason. As I said, you can do anything you feel like doing, but just do it over and over again. So here's one I like. I call it loops, little loops like this. And then I put a line, and then I color it in with black, and that's good for a border. So you can see how this thicker Sharpie colors things in nicely. Next, you might just do some stars, whatever you want. or a variation of it. Here's one that you do a zigzag like this, and then you put a line through it, and you can color the upper ends or the lower ends, or leave it blank, do anything you want. Then you can just do lines, almost like a Chinese kind of print. Then you can take a scribble like that and make an S. That's always effective. You can also do that bars again like we're doing plaid, and this time we're putting the line straight through, and you're going to color maybe every other block, whatever you want, whatever you think is distinctive in your design. That's another one. You can do straight little upside down L's. You can do V shapes like this. You can do a curve like this, and then put a little circle at the bottom of it. There's no mistakes. You can do whatever you want. Here's one where you can do the loops again, like I showed you up here, but this time you can put some little lines above it. That makes it a little more interesting. So this just gives you an idea of some of the designs. There's many, many more, and you'll see more designs as I'm showing you other things. Now that we have developed some tangles or different patterns, we have to have something to put these patterns in. So we have to find some shapes. So one thing we did in summer camp when we do Zentangle, you trace your own hand. So you go up and down, and the better thing to do is to take a pencil to do it. So we're going to take a pencil and we're going to trace our hand all the way around. Now, the smaller you are, the less design you have to make. So I have a very big hand, and I have some fingernails here. They can be designs inside of that. Now, this is the hand, but it's too big. So everybody's hand has to be divided off again, and you'll see where we do this. We're going to divide all our fingers into different shapes, and it doesn't matter how you divide it. The important thing is each little space will become its own design. So you will put a pattern in each of these different spaces. So that's your hand. Now you might look around your house and say, well, what else could I do? Well, you could take a glass, and I'm putting this glass down here, and I'm going to take my pencil and go all around it and trace the circle. So I have a whole complete circle. And that can be used for another space. But if you want to do something a little different, you could take a smaller circle, and I try and measure it off so it's pretty even on each side, and then I trace that too. So now I have all these different areas that I can do different patterns in. So I can do a pattern in here. I can divide that off if I want to. And each of those within spaces, we can do a pattern. I can do a pattern in here too. So all these spaces will have a different shape, different tangle. And finally, you can just make up your own shape. You can just take it and just do it any way you like, and then divide that off. Always divide off a shape, so you can have a variation of different patterns. And next we're going to show you actually how you do some of these patterns. First of all, you take your pen, your Sharpie, and you go over what we talked about. You'll take a little circle. Maybe you start with the circles and you go all around. I'm not going to fill in everything because we're going to do our own project, but I just want to show you how you start doing this. So you might have the bigger circles next as we go around, and after that you might end up with tiny little circles and make them dark. So that's how you do it. And then the next time you might take little squiggly lines here and put those all the way down. That might fill the next area. The next area you might take one of those patterns that we talked about and put that in, and then put your little dots at each intersection. So that's how you filled in. And then you also do something in here Maybe loop it all around. And put stars in here. You can make up anything you want to. And if there are some pencil lines left, you can just take your eraser and erase out the pencil lines. Or you can draw your own black lines in there. We can also do that. We can also just take this and go like this and like this. So that gives you an idea how we're going to do the shaping. The next thing we're going to do is a little project that you can call your very own. The project is called Bookmark. We're going to make a couple bookmarks and actually make them special for either you or somebody you know. So we need to start with another piece of paper. This is oak tag. It's a little bit thicker. If you have that, it would be better. If not, you can use just plain paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide it off to make one bookmark, and I've already put the line down there, so we're going to cut it up here. And I just put it, the line, and now I have the size bookmark I want. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this and put a line across the top of it. And this line is going to have my name or somebody else's name on it. I think we'll start with a boy first. Let's say you have a friend and his name is Mark. So let's put Mark's name on top. Okay, that is his own special bookmark. The next thing, you're going to grab your pencil and let's think of the design. Well, Mark likes baseball, so why don't we do some baseball? So I'm going to put a big baseball. If you have a size of a baseball within the space, great, or else you're just going to have to make your own circle. And then to divide it off, I remember there's stitches on each side of that baseball. So that's the baseball. Now let's see about the bat. If you have a picture of a bat, great. If not, you're just going to have to make your own. And I'm just bringing the line down here. And maybe making a little handle at the bottom. I think it narrows in. And then it goes back up and gets a little fatter up top and curves around. So let's say that's his bat. Now I have to divide the space off. I already divided the ball off, but now I have to divide the bat itself. So I'm going to be putting different lines here. And we're just going to do this and this. And then come down with this line and maybe something like that. Okay, so now I've got my different spaces. So let's start putting our design in. Okay, we're going to start at the top with the baseball, and you outline it darker in your little Sharpie pen, and you put your 2 stitches, big stitches, and then make little tiny stitches here on each side. Reminds me, you could do either baseball, football, soccer ball, basketball, whatever the interest is, and work from there. Next, we're going to outline the bat. We're coming down here like this, turning it a little bit, making our little bat and coming up here to meet the top. Then I'm going to divide the spaces off. Any pencil marks that keep showing, you can erase at the end. Okay, here we go. So let's look now. Let's start by maybe making some circles. So we'll make little circles at the top. And we can, this is a repetitive, repeating it over and over again until you finish the space. The next space, I think I'm just going to put some little lines in here. I don't know, I'm just making up things to do, like that, okay. Next I'm going to do a bar. It's what I call a bar. 2 lines this way, and then maybe another line coming in, but don't cross through the other line. So it looks like that. Now here might be a place where you want to fill in solidly in black to make it more interesting. So I'm taking my little pen and I'm filling it in that way. Now up here, let's see. I have some spaces, so I think I'll just put some little stars in here because stars are like baseball, or like the flag. And so I've got those in here. Now this big space, I'm gonna put my, you remember we did a little loops. So I'm having little loops come out every which way. Some are dark, some are light. Maybe I'll just do the tops of them. So that's my loops. Then below, again, I'm gonna do the crossbar. And this time, I'm going to use some color. So I'll get a colored Sharpie, and I'm just going to fill inside the bar this way. I don't like to use a lot of color, but a little color adds some interest. So there we go. We got the color of the bar, and the handle, again, I'm going to use little dark circles all around. Fill in that space. Now this is just a simple version. You can do anything you want, but this is Mark's special, his own bookmark, and he can use this. Don't forget to put your little initials here, okay? So now let's do one more because I think I'll do one for a girl. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take and I think I'll make my own this time. So I'm gonna put this off, put my line up here. I have a little space and I can put my name Chris in here. And then I have to think about a design. So I'm gonna grab my pencil and I'm just gonna start my shape as I go down. And I'm just gonna do like this. And as I'm going down, I'm thinking, maybe I'll make a dress on a stand. So I'm coming down like this. I'm making a little dress, and it's on a stand. Okay, then I've got to follow through and outline it. I want to make sure I'm going to use a thicker Sharpie because I need a better line for that. I'm going to go down and around. Again, what I miss, if there's pencil mark, I can erase it later. And there I have my shape. Now I need to divide it off, so I think I'm gonna have like a collar, and then I'm gonna go up like this, and then I'm gonna come around like this, and this, and this. Okay, so there's a little pencil marks here. I'm just gonna erase that out, erase some of this out, and it won't be in my way. Let's start with stars for the collar. And I just keep doing stars all the way down until I finish that space. Next, I'm gonna do that squiggly pattern line. And you'll see what I'm doing. And then I take this squiggly line like that, and like that, and like that. And remember at the cross, we made little marks. Could be a little diamond, it could be a little star, little dot. It doesn't quite matter what you do, but you're making something out of it to make it stand out. Next, I think it looks like it needs some V shape, like that. There it goes. And then I have a big space here, which I'm going to, again, pattern off like a pattern. And you can find lots of patterns in clothes. They use a lot of Zentangle designs, and you can even copy something like that. So here I think I'm going to, again, color the square. And color the square here. And maybe one up here. And one down below. And then I have something at the end, and I'm going to do those little loops that we talked about before. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to incorporate it all around here. And if you make a mistake, you just kind of go over it with something else. You can easily fix mistakes. Now here, to give it a little color, I think I'll put these little circles in blue, kind of a navy blue, and color those in as much as you can. Color those in. And then you have a few little spaces left over where you remember we put the little lines like this over some of the loops. And that's our design. So we've got two designs. We've got one for Mark and one for Chris. And that's our designs. So that's what we're doing today. We did our bookmarks. I'm just going to show you what you can do with some other Zentangle. This is a printed fish I found, and I just enlarged it, and I just did Zentangle all over the place with, and it makes a very effective, pretty picture. The other thing I have, remember the time we used the circles? Look at all the circles I used here, and it made a very pretty pattern. This is a big, what I call a leaf pattern. And there's that kind of spider plait type of thing. There's the loops in here, lots of little ones in here. It makes a very effective design. So have fun, do what you want, make some bookmarks for your friends and your family. Talk to you and see you later. Bye.